Good evening, everybody. Rob, Chris, Georgette, there's Barbara, Ava, Jean, Phil Edwards. Wow. We we've got all sorts of people here.
So, John, I know you want me to record as well, and if somebody could just tell me how to record it as a,
I
a
think
guest.
I'm recording it since you've performed your function, but I need to, for some reason, there it says it's recording. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you should be able to record down below somewhere. There's I think along your
Right. Okay.
there's an
Oh,
ability.
I see it. I see it. I see it.
Okay, it asked me, and I said okay. So.
Okay.
Hey, Barbara. While we're waiting for John, Steve Shannon looked at the agenda tonight and he saw paramilitary training instead of, and he got very excited. So maybe that's the next session you can plan on.
I'll be sure to make that session.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see
that's an autofill. It goes it autofills parliamentary to paramilitary.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see how the election goes, whether we need to do that or not. Okay.
Right. That's
There you go.
okay. That's enough of that.
Yes.
All right. All right. Let's see who all the council is here. Peter's here. Ava, Barbara, Chris, Rob, and we're looking for Mary. She's down here, but not we can't see her. So
Mhm.
let's call the October 14th meeting of the Washington Grove Town Council to order. First item of business, as always, is approval of the agenda. So you all received the agenda. I'm going to show it here. I'll reduce its size a little bit there. You'll see in what appears to be now several colors for some reason. Not sure why. The differences between the agenda I'm showing you and the one that was distributed earlier. And these are all added items, and they're all in my report. So just those are the only differences. So I'd like a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Any opposed or comments on the agenda? See, I learned something yesterday.
We'll see about that.
Any objections to the agenda? We'll see about that. Exactly. All right.
We're watching you carefully tonight, John.
Oh no, today I get a buy today because we haven't actually decided
Okay.
to change anything.
Okay.
All right, since there are no objections, the agenda is approved as shown here. And we will go through it. So the first item, next item of business is public appearances. Public appearance limited to 3 minutes on subjects that are not listed on the agenda. Those we will take your comment in at the time of the we get to that agenda item. with a couple of caveats when we get to that item on the agenda. Any public appearances on another subject? Okay, if we have no public appearances, then our next item of business is the treasurer's report. Jean is here to comment on the treasurer's report, and I'll turn it over to Jean if she has anything to add.
I was just going to make a couple comments on the real property and dwelling tax appear to be low. It's not an even receipt each month, but I did just today receive a little over 100,000 from the county, so that should put those percents more in line. And then down in miscellaneous, the Action Hauling invoice, Peter, I don't know if you want to get involved. This year we're invoicing in 4 installments. The first installment went out in July and was due the end of September. Had not received it. I did send a reminder invoice out. He's notorious for paying late. It is still unpaid. I'll be getting ready to send out the second installment invoice. It'll include the unpaid balance, and we had put into the contract a penalty fee for not paying. So that, Peter, I think you might be the one that might help facilitate this, if I'm correct.
What, is this the commercial, a commercial corner?
No,
No.
Action Hauling.
No,
Oh,
Jean,
no, that's not me. That's not me.
that would be
And-
Rob.
Rob,
Yeah.
I'm happy to
I can reach out as well, and Kathy can too.
yeah.
But I just wanted to put the council on notice for that. And that those were the comments I wanted to make. Other comments are in the report, in the comments section. Happy to answer any questions if folks have any questions. We're running, at 8, I think revenue is at 18% for the year. Expenses at 13% of budget. So I have no concerns at all at the moment.
Great.
So any questions for Jean?
Okay.
If not, we'll follow our traditional procedure of voting on accepting the treasurer's report. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Then treasurer's report is accepted. All right. The next item on the agenda is my report, which I will give as soon as I can get this thing larger. So you all right, so first off, kudos. The kudos for the last month, during most of which I wasn't here, but nevertheless, some great volunteer events went on, and led principally by Tom Land, who can see, who perhaps with others, but nevertheless, he was the voice of of organizing the contractor appreciation event at the lake, which, in spite of being postponed a week or so, I understand was a major success from at least the town residents' point of view. Hopefully, those of our vendors and contractors who came found it to be so as well on a very nice day. So really, that was a great idea, and apparently a very good day for everybody. The other kudos go for the 70+ birthday party, I guess is what it actually was. I never got the memo in time to have actually planned to attend. Yes, actually I am 70+. But those who went and the description of the party and the planning and all of that apparently was a big success from at least from those of you who said something. And once again, to Tom and anyone else who I'm unaware of who participated in that, fantastic idea. Maybe next year we can change the date to make sure everybody is aware, but no, I'm kidding about that. It was good. So to any other kudos or I apologize if I didn't know about them. As I say, I was missing much of September, more than half of September. I was away. Okay, the next item is the testimony to the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This actually came up during September, and the state has a commission, and it's probably, I'm not certain, but I think it's in conjunction with the 250th celebration that's coming up, recognition of the state of Maryland. But they formed a commission to assemble and propose actions that would recognize and apologize for and make sure it's not forgotten that you know the lynchings associated with racism happened in Maryland as well in Montgomery County. This commission is taking testimony in various counties. They had one on October 5th here in Maryland. I mean in Montgomery County. I was out of town, but Barbara, Councilor Raimondo, stepped in and presented testimony, which was originally a draft came from Charlie Charlstrom, who also would have testified, but unfortunately was unable to for health reasons. But Barbara stepped up and actually wrote a terrific set of statements from the town. Obviously, we don't have any lynchings in our history that we know of, nor are we related to the 3 known lynchings in the county. But nevertheless, they apparently wanted to hear from us because of our active recognition of the racist actions associated with the town, that predated the town, but included the town, and our efforts to, our apologies for it and our intent and actions to do better and remedy any the consequences, any consequences, and of the policies and the decisions going forward. So Barbara did a great job. I urge you to read it. It is in the materials.
John,
Yes.
may I just say one quick thing? That commission is going to continue to meet, not just to recognize, but to also talk about practical reparations.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Right. Thank you, Paul. All right, next item on my report is the Green Bank Washington Grove Climate Resilience Project. We have the Green Bank has funded some pilot projects to address climate resilience in which the Green Bank was provided some funding from the county and perhaps some other sources as well to help municipalities and to achieve greater climate resilience with our changing climate, and that covers a whole variety of things. But we have a pilot project with them, which we are very fortunate to have. I did want to show you, the council has seen this before, but I do want to show you the outline of what the project entails. Hopefully you can see this. It involves up to $400,000. There's a variety of components. The main focus early on was the West Woods restoration due to stormwater damage. So this is something, of course, that we've been aiming at for some years. So there's been progress on that. The reason I'm reporting it tonight is because the Green Bank has contracted with the Maryland Environmental Systems, MES, to conduct a survey in the town of water runoff affecting the West Woods, and the MES is going to aid in identifying grant opportunities and put together grant applications for addressing the stormwater issues in the rest. You can see it's written here. It's in the materials. You can read it in more detail. There's some sequential parts of this project. And it even includes in later in the year effects of stormwater, floodwater on private property, and assistance as to how to help residents deal with that. And lastly, it's going to be expanded to address climate resilience in general, such as having a place to shelter in the event of a climate-related emergency, such as an extended loss of electricity due to a storm, and other associated types of things related to heating. Where too hot for extended periods. Do we need a place where people can seek some refuge from heat? Things associated with climate, and that's been added to the project, and may have some practical application later in this fiscal year. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. Right, going on to the next item is the energy audit plan for the McCatherine Hall. The Sustainability Committee has proposed, they've proposed to do an energy audit of McCatherine Hall, and it's an energy evaluation of energy use. I think we all actually know what that is, but the idea is to, how can energy use be reduced at McCatherine Hall for all the various for all the various areas, and what would be needed to do that? What are the various options to improve and reduce energy use at the hall? This is, I understand, one of the things that is needed to move our sustainability, our designation as a, and I'm going to blow this because I didn't review it, our Sustainability Maryland category. We're in the lowest category, whatever that is, bronze level. To move to the next level, among the things they want, that gets that improves our sustainability rating would be this energy audit. The problem with the energy audit is obviously it costs money. And once again, we're going to be talking to the Green Bank, who also has an interest in promoting and aiding private entities and others in doing energy audits. So just want everybody to be aware of that. There's nothing in the budget for an energy audit. We have one quotation from one outfit that does it. It's on the order, or that quotation was on the order of $2,500 to do a detailed evaluation. Continuing on, the town received a Sustainable Communities Grant Award from Pepco for $10,000 for environmental stewardship use. And this was applied for by the Meadow Committee to obtain funds to be used in the meadow restoration plan, which we are going to be discussing. We have been discussing and will continue to discuss, and it's on the agenda later on. But we have $10,000 to use should we decide to move ahead with a restoration plan. The streetlight inventory. This has been going on some time. As you know, we have a lighting committee, and among the things they've taken the lead on is to ensure or achieve the potential for the town to own our own streetlights. The reason for that I won't go into now, but there are good reasons, because Pepco has in the past, and may still in the future, propose to the Public Service Commission that changes in the streetlights throughout the Pepco area be allowed. And some of those changes we may not appreciate. And if we were to own our own streetlights, then we would be in greater control of any changes. So the lighting committee's been working on that. My report is that we've been working to get an accurate streetlight inventory, which, remember, this is Pepco, and historically there's been some disconnect with, and of course, Washington Grove's a small municipality, but it's true for other municipalities as well. Their inventory of streetlights was very deficient. Our inventory of streetlights, we didn't take a big interest in until we started to try and reduce our energy consumption, which we've been very successful at. But now we've just agreed on a definitive, not that it couldn't change, but a bit, a definitive inventory. And that's a good thing. Just as an aside, Pepco will be submitting another tariff request to the Public Service Commission. They're holding some meetings to inform interested parties, including municipalities and everyone, what that consists of. We're anticipating it will consist of a lot of the modifications to the previous tariff, which were negotiated as directed by the PSC the last time they did a tariff. So that's going to happen in November. So there's more to do on this, and this is just a progress report. The inventory, at least, we have, I think, settled. All right, the next item is the parliamentary procedure training, which happened yesterday for the council and some committee chairs who were interested. It was a very useful and I think it went for 3 hours, but it didn't seem that long, at least to me. So we now are all experts in Robert's Rules of Order, and we won't ever have a problem with procedure. And if that was true, I would have to resign. But we do have, we've gotten a lot of expert advice as to how meetings should be run, can be run, what the rules of order and their hierarchy are, and some aids for using those. We will, at least with respect to the town meeting, will be implementing some of those, and hopefully things will be smooth when we get to the meeting. All right. On October 19th, Gabriel Acevero, one of our 3 state delegates in District 39, has organized what he is calling it's actually a District 39 event, but the theme is sustainability and climate justice for all, taking place at the hall and residents and public are invited to join. There will be invited speakers. I do not have an agenda as to exactly what it will entail, but it's for 2 hours, 11 to 1 on the 19th. Another announcement, just a reminder that we have contracted with Leadership Montgomery to conduct a townwide, everyone in town is invited to participate in diversity, equity, inclusion education system. It too is 3 hours. However, from 9 to 12, I think that's a Saturday, November 16th, a sign up will be required. And there will be a registration form towards the end of this month, or at least at the very beginning of November. So anyone wanting to attend will need to sign up, but you're free to do it. The Washington Grove Haunted Woods this year will be from 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 26th in the gazebo. The trick-or-treating this year will be held on Halloween from 6 to 8. And the last thing I want to just mention is that as part of our 150th celebration last year, as you know, Craig English designed a poster, which the town purchased some. We purchased actually quite a few. The pricing had a very unusual scale. For very few dollars, we got a lot more posters. So consequently, we have a lot of posters that were not purchased by anybody else. And the intention was that they would make excellent thank you, appreciation gifts to people who come to town, are invited to town for various reasons, to speak, to on maybe to tour, whatever. And so I'm just making this public announcement that everyone should keep in mind that these are available and they can plan and request to get 1 or 5 or whatever it is for use for this purpose. And that wraps up my report and we have one more report to come. So I'll, if there are any questions on any of those items, maybe this is the time to take them from the council only, please. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
No, John, just for the event coming up, we're a volunteer town, and it's the same people doing the same thing all the time. So for the haunted house, we could really use some help on Friday and Saturday. So we'll put out a notice, and just please think about donating a little bit of time to help the kids. It's for the kids, and you get candy, so it's worth it. Thanks, John.
And it's just set up and all that. You don't actually, if you can't be there during the hours,
exactly.
Fine.
Yep.
You won't be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just takes effort to put it together. Thank you, Peter. That's a good thing to get out there. Anybody else? All right. So we actually have one more report. Rather than giving the shared use pathway report, we've invited Gene Kapuznik of the Montgomery County Department of Transportation, who is leading the Washington Grove Connector engineering planning. And I invited her to come and give a fairly brief status report as to where that is. As you know, we all wanted it built last week, but I think even they want it built last week. But there's a lot of work to get it built. So we thought we could use a report. So Gene is here. Gene, I'll give a brief, so you don't have to do all of the background. I'm just reminding everyone that last year, after a series of planning of the planning board and the earlier study, the go-ahead was given to build the connector independently of any other projects, because it had been connected to the Crabs Branch Amity Road, which has now been disconnected from that. And as a consequence, it was put with a little bit of persuasion, was put into the minor bicycle or I don't know the exact name. There's a category in the capital improvement budget from the minor bicycle improvement budget, and it was explicitly put in there for funding in this fiscal year, even though the Department of Transportation was somewhat, a lot, pessimistic that construction could get started in this fiscal year. But we felt that we really wanted to get it in there, and hope that things went faster than had been laid out as the timeline. So that's where it is now, trying to get to construction. And there's some things that have to happen. I'll let Jean talk about that. Jean?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a great introduction. I appreciate it. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Jean. I work in the Department of Transportation, in our Transportation Engineering Group. And I am managing this project, which is a trail from the end of Crabs Branch Way up to Brown Street in Washington Grove. And back in, I guess it was about February, we met with the Transportation and Environment Subcommittee, the town of Washington Grove. We had been interfacing with them as well. And we in our office became comfortable enough with the plans that we decided on an alignment for this trail, meaning the path was going to take. And that allowed us to get going. Now we could finally get some ink on the paper and design these plans and start to really work toward a construction project. And we needed that decision to be made. At that time, I set a schedule that was ambitious, though after 18 years of waiting, Mr. Mayor, I know none of this sounds fast enough, and I totally agree. But projects like this do have to go through a lot of other bureaucracy, not just our bureaucracy, but other bureaucracies as well. And so you lay out a schedule in phases. And the first milestone, that first phase, is about a 30% detail level plan. And at that time, that 30% plan will lay out the alignment of the path, the width of that path, all the impacts you might have with the grading, putting this path in. You start identifying some of those impacts to trees, to wetlands, things like this. And you get a good idea of what this is going to look like, but then you pause because you want everybody involved to look at this and make sure that it looks okay. This is very typical at all levels of government for construction projects like this. They go through a phased approach. This 30% coincides with something that we're required to do, just like any developer in Montgomery County, and that is to go to the Park and Planning Commission. And we present our plan to them. Now, a developer that's doing a big housing development goes through a more rigorous review than we would. But we do still have to go to them in an advisory way and get their input on these projects. That goes for schools, that goes for parks, that goes for DOT projects, anything public like this. It does have to go through this process. So the ambitious schedule that I laid out was all of the interim steps, worked with our consultant to make sure this was doable, because there's a lot of work they had to do, that we would have that mandatory referral meeting with the Park and Planning Board in October, which doesn't seem ambitious at all, from February to October to set up a meeting. But internally, we met all of the internal dates that we had set. We have we're calling them 35% on the plan set that I shared with a few of you. Feel free to share this with anyone on the call or anyone else that's interested. Is a 35% plan. A lot of work, a lot of field work went into that, a lot of design went into that, a lot more engineering than it might look to actually get this thing that, yes, this is a feasible plan at 35%. And so those plans are ready, but some of the aspects and some of the pieces of this have to go through a pre-review before it goes to the planning board itself. And when I laid out this schedule, I put what I thought was a realistic time frame for all of this to fall into place. And I want to explain where we are, but I want you please to understand that this is not meant to be defensive in any way. I'll tell you anything you want to know. And it's not meant to bring any type of microscope onto any other agencies that review these plans either. They take the time that they take. They are experts in their field, and we look to them to give us good feedback on these plans. But occasionally, some of these reviews take a lot longer than you hope they would. And in this case, the approach that the reviewer has taken has been an iterative process, where we're getting comments and we're responding right away, but then it's taking some time to hear from them again, and we're responding right away. So I finally spoke with the reviewer on Friday, and we've been indicating that this is something we felt we had